The MKUltra program left the lab and hit the streets in a big way in the early 1980s, and again in 2001, immediately after the 9/11 attacks. Many more people were added to the target list, which now numbers in the thousands. The target is faced with a full coverage system that was developed by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Administration. The ability to follow the target individual and monitor them everywhere they go using their cell phone, car-based tracking systems, or in some cases implants such as the Vera chip, or by other means. The use of different groups to follow and harass targets numbers in the hundreds of thousands of people. The different groups who do the active physical organized group stalking are generally cause-oriented groups. For instance, anti-abortion groups are motivated, lied to, by telling them that the target is an abortion rights activist or proponent. Local community crime watch organizations are told that the target is a known criminal. Ethnic organizations are told that the target is a committed racist. Neo-Nazi groups are told that the targeted individual is a race traitor. In short, many different groups are used. Some who are diametrically opposed to each other are brought into the program. The intelligence community has brought together many unlikely bedfellows into an umbrella program that can reach into any community in America for the purpose of active harassment. The idea that the government can infiltrate neo-Nazi as well as anti-abortion groups may seem fantastic, but a careful reading of the history of neo-Nazi groups will reveal that most of the leaders were either government agents from the beginning of their careers or were later recruited by paying them after years of lackluster interest from the general public. These groups are approached by men who claim to be police officials or men claiming to have heroic pasts in the intelligence community, but actually these men are men the group has little or no real knowledge about. The idea that normal citizens that compose these very different groups, such as police watch groups, church groups, gay and lesbian groups, might actively follow, harass, and assist in the torture and occasional murder of targeted individuals that are total strangers might seem fantastic, but the Milgram experiment has proved otherwise. Briefly, Dr. Stanley Milgram set up an experiment where the target was an actor, and the test subject was the torturer. An authority figure, essentially a man in a lab coat, told the subject to push a button to deliver an electric shock to a man who was an actor, unbeknownst to the test subject, sitting in another room and viewed through one-way glass. The majority of psychologists believed that only sociopathic personalities, making up 1 to 2% of the general population, would willingly injure or kill on command of an authority figure. Nearly 70% of people off the street were willing to deliver a lethal or near-lethal electric shock to a complete stranger on command from an authority figure. The psychology professionals were all shocked themselves at the results, and the intelligence community also took note. The program often employs individuals to torture targets who have been recruited from prisons, including child molesters and murderers with no ties to the intelligence community and are totally deniable. Targets are often filmed in their homes using technology that can be bought at any spy store, or higher-end devices that record and videotape their very private lives. The target can be depicted in a most unflattering manner and provoked by attacks to behave in irrational ways, and these behaviors are shared with the stalking groups in order to motivate them in their harassment activities. This is accomplished by using the active, physical torture of microwave weapons or the behavioral manipulation detailed in the NS General Aquino's Mind War paper. The stalking groups themselves are part of an experimental program to see how to motivate large groups of people to engage in antisocial behaviors that can be directed against targeted individuals. The targets themselves come from many different backgrounds: government whistleblowers, political activists, family members of people in the military or the intelligence community, scientists with important technology that is coveted by high-level perpetrators, victims of satanic ritual abuse, and even people sold into the program by a jealous spouse or business partner in a very new type of murder incorporated. The typical target is tortured in their home and place of work, as well as harassed in public. They have their homes entered and their personal possessions vandalized. Their mail is stolen. In short, a type of torture chamber that is outside the lab and in the community, practiced in a manner that after decades has reached an art form that is totally deniable, but neutralizes all the target's efforts to fight back or get help. The morbidity or death of targets is fairly low. Only 1 to 2% a year of these thousands of targeted people die. Most of these deaths are suicides. The triad of active gang stalking, physical torture with microwave weapons, and emotional and behavioral manipulation make the lives of targeted individuals a fate worse than death. It is a testament to the strength of the human spirit that any of these people survive more than a few months. Most have been targets for years. Their ages and backgrounds are varied, but all have endured the unimaginable. The multiple purposes this experiment embodies points towards a terrible future for the collective humanity that can only be described as controlled and hellish.